Shannon Miller, and I am your instructor for English 121 this semester. Just wanted to take a few moments and welcome you to class. We'll from here go to discussing the D2L website, the syllabus, and moving on to our regular class discussions. But welcome, and I look forward to working with you all this semester.
Okay, so here we are on our PPCC online campus. This is our course shell for the semester for English 121. And this is just generally what you'll see when you log in. We have, of course, a news feed. If I have any announcements that I need to make, this is where I will make announcements for a class. For the most part, you should be able to find everything you need under content, though you can go to discussions, Dropbox, quizzes, grades, class list. All of these things are available to you. And I really recommend that if you havenent taken an orientation of the D2L format, the Pikes Peak Community College Online Campus, also known as D2L, if you haven't done so, please, I really recommend that you do. It can make a really big difference in how you are able to navigate and find what you need. Up here at the very top of the screen, if you have any message alerts, I will send emails through the course shell. Generally, that's where I send emails through. However, be sure to check your ppcc.edu email. They are two separate emails. I know that can be a little confusing, but make sure you know how to get to that information as well. And make sure you also take advantage of these resources that we have available. There's of course the help desk, but there's also things like this Learning Assistance Center, the Math Center, and the Math Lab if you use that. The library is also available online, and the Writing Center as well. These are really great resources, and you're already paying for them as part of your tuition. So without any more ado, we're going to go ahead and look here on content, which is where you will find information about what to expect for a given week. I tend to divide my course list here by weeks. So in addition to the table of contents, the syllabus, I have an office hours kind of slot where if you click on it, there will be instructor's office discussion posts there. Any clarification that you need on instruction should go there so that everyone can take advantage of any clarification I might be able to provide. I also have a separate section here for assignment guidelines. These are PDF downloadable to give you ideas of what to expect for discussion posts, what you need to do in order to succeed on all of these items. So these are definitely worth taking the time to look over. In addition, like I said, I've got these all divided out into weeks here. Week 1, of course, the lecture information will be here. Discussion posts will be here, and all you have to do to get it to a new discussion post is you have to click on it, and you'll be able to go through that on an individual basis. Your assignments for any given week plus the due dates are going to be listed here as well. Though, of course, you can always come up to your Dropbox to find assignments, your discussions to find discussion posts. So you should be able to find them in either place. It's just a little bit of a redundancy, but it's there in both places for you. So for every week, you'll want to make sure that you're keeping track of it. These do correspond to the weeks that are listed in the syllabus, and I will go over the syllabus in more detail. In addition, down at the bottom, I have extra credit. This is available for anyone who's interested throughout the entire semester. It's available starting at the beginning, ending at the very end of the semester. And these are just grammar quizzes to help refine your grammar use. You have an opportunity, and we'll talk about those in more depth when I go through the syllabus. So in addition, students often ask me where they can find things like grades. Grades are all available just under the grade tab. I will keep those up to date as best I'm able. We are required to get all of the grading assignments done within 2 weeks of having them submitted. I usually can do a little faster than that, but no promises. So all of your grades will be here. Everything is posted here as soon as it's available, so you know exactly what to expect. good place to keep an eye on what's going on there. In addition, you also have the class list, what does offer you information about who else is in the class in case you need to get in touch with anybody via email. Tools over here on the side, we don't really take attendance, but a couple of things I'd like to point out here. The calendar is a really nice way to keep track of your dates. I do post things to the calendar, so you will know when you're able to get into all of these items, when things are due. So it's just a good idea to kind of keep track of it. You can look at them in a different format. We've got a tab. This one's currently on list. But you can also look at it via agenda, things that are due for the day, things that are due for the month and the week, or just, as I had it, just a general list of what's expected. And these will also allow you to go directly to those items shown. So you might, if you find yourself really struggling to keep up with the workload, you might actually do a print job of this and see if that can help you keep on top of it. So calendar is a really good one to know about. In addition, you might take a look at your locker. This is my locker in here. And it's got things like, these are a great way of backing up any files that you have, including some assignments. I, of course, have lectures in here and things like that from other classes. So these are just kind of good things to keep an eye on. You can upload things to your locker if you know you want a backup for them. Sometimes that can be really helpful because, as we know, technology is not completely reliable. So just another resource available to you. So that was the very quick tour of our D2L site, and I will go ahead and speak a bit about the syllabus now. I want to make sure that we are all on the same page, but as always, if you have any questions, please be sure that you're posting underneath content. If you'll come over and post underneath office hours and the instructor's office, ask me questions about what you have confusion on. I want to make sure that everybody is clear on what's expected for this class. All right, so here we have our syllabus for the class this semester. And I'm not going to read the entire syllabus by any means, but I do want to point out a few things as we're going along, as we would normally do in a face-to-face class on the first day, and just kind of go through a few things for clarification's sake. This is the best way to get in touch with me is via email or via the D2L website. You can still get in touch with the Division of Languages and the Writing Center. These are down at the Division of Languages at the Centennial campus. However, I don't have an office there, so like I said, the best way to get in touch with me is via email. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. The general description of the class that we're going to be covering, we'll be working mostly on compositions, particularly trying to figure out how to plan and write and revise compositions. We have 5 essays that we will be doing this semester. This is Colorado State competency. It's something that we do, everyone does for this class at Pikes Peak Community College. Make sure that you're observing the prerequisites. You definitely need to have passed English 090 with a C or better, or tested out of lower level courses. We do review your records. It's just too difficult for people who are working at a remedial level. I have emailed everybody the required texts. There is a specific version of the Pikes Peak Community College text for this, From Inquiry to Academic Writing. It is the 2nd edition, but there is a special addendum that Pikes Peak Community College has had added to the regular text, so make sure you have the correct version. Also, the Little Brown Handbook, and as I mentioned on the email, we do use materials from the digital version, so please make sure you have the login code. General course objectives, these are pretty standard. You'll see these throughout. We want to make sure that your learning experience is active and that we're doing as much as possible to really get you engaged in what it means to write a college essay. So we're going to be working on active learning, and we'll talk more about what that means as time goes on. Critical thinking, creative thinking, clear and original communication. Again, that's kind of what this class is designed to help you do. So we want to make sure that you're on the right page with that. We will be working also to make sure that everybody maintains the appropriate conventions for academic papers. So, as to the attendance, I do have to keep track of absences, but with an online class, this works slightly different. You have to regularly attend class online and turn in submissions and do your discussion posts. If you decide that you aren't, for whatever reason, able to take this class, make sure you do complete the withdrawal process. Without doing that, you'll end up just failing the class at the end of the semester, which is no fun, and I don't want to do that, and I'm sure you don't want to do that either. It can really ruin your transcript. So you need to make sure that you are engaging, going online, and if you intend to drop the class, actually drop the class. Don't just stop attending. Okay. We have to post the inclement weather and emergency closure stuff. We don't usually have any downtime for D2L, though on rare occasions it does help, and it does happen. If for some odd reason we can't get on D2L, I will be in touch via email what to do. But obviously we don't have any weather closures per se. Information about the grades, how much those essays are due. We'll have a set of general assignments and how much the discussion posts are worth. And then, so there's your total points possible, 1,995 points. And then we have an average grade. There's no curve for this work. And all the paper assignments will be posted on D2L, as I mentioned, with those weekly assignments and content. I'm being very clear. One section that I want to make sure that we do talk about before we go on is this section about late papers. All assignments are due in the Dropbox by the date indicated on D2L. I don't usually accept late papers unless you've made some arrangements with me in advance, and because of a highly compelling reason, such as, there are emergencies, and I understand that there are emergencies. I do consider more than 2 requests for late submissions to be excessive in one given semester. The problem that we run into is that students who consistently submit assignments fall very far behind, and then you never really get caught up. So you want to make sure that you're keeping current with all of your assignments. If you haven't made previous arrangements for late submissions, or if you ask for more than 2, I'll automatically deduct 10% of your score for every day late. So if it was due on Sunday, you'll have 10%. If it was turned in on Monday, 10% less, 20% on Tuesday. So you can see that eventually it gets to a point where it's not really even worth turning in at all, because you wouldn't receive the score. Now, if you do turn something in very, very late, and I will still give you comments on it, I'd be happy to give feedback on it. However, you won't receive a score for it. So that's the late paper policy. I'll go on and talk a little bit about workshops. We're going to be doing at least one classroom editing session where we're going to talk about some in-progress writing and talk about the process of writing and get some suggestions from your peers, and these are very important. So you do need to do this peer evaluation. Without it, you will have a 10% deduction from your final paper grade for not participating in the workshop. So it's just a participation score, but it is really highly important to the writing process. Another real quick word on readings. We have very challenging readings in this class, and it's meant to be challenging. So if you struggle with these, please don't panic. You're supposed to struggle with the readings, so please don't worry about it. We're going to get through it, and if you're really lost, we'll talk about it some more. We will also talk a little bit more about essay format, research and documentation forms. We use MLA format exclusively. We will cover this during class. So if you want to discuss any other formats, I know that APA is also frequently used. Chicago is sometimes used in other classes. I can give you resources for those if you have questions about how to find that. In addition, I have a revision policy because revisions are very important in writing. I find that if you want to revise any assignment, you have the option to revise within 1 week of the grade posting and resubmit it for up to 10 percentage points higher than the initial grade. So after I give you your score back, I usually include a date of when I'll accept it to. And of course I can't accept after the end of class, but I want to give you the option to revise. And you can only do that if your initial draft's been turned in on time. Okay, so of course we're going to be using D2L since we're all online. This is how we're going to be in touch. In addition, I want to make sure that I discuss these general policies. Academic honesty, you're always expected to do your own work. So therefore, and we'll talk about this more at length during class, but academic dishonesty is anything from using somebody else's work to plagiarizing to anything like that. It automatically results in a 0. And all incidents of cheating does have to be reported to the Dean of Students. This is just part of the college policy, so do your own work. It just makes sense. On our classroom atmosphere, since we're all trying to learn together and we're trying to enjoy this experience as much as possible, it's really, really important to make sure to maintain those kinds of courtesies that we would have elsewhere online. So refrain from shouting, using all capital letters, refrain from flaming or trolling or other kinds of inappropriate online behaviors. We want to make sure our online classroom is as supportive as possible and helps everyone learn as much as possible. All right, in addition, we don't do a lot of assessment. We do the only true assessment that we do in this class is your writing. The papers are the assessment of your skill level and what you've gotten from this class. So assessment is not really something that applies to this class, it's just part of the general policies. I do like to also make a note that about the time requirement. It's generally expected that you'll spend at least 2 hours outside of the class for every class credit hour you have. So for this is technically a 3-hour class, so you should expect to spend at least 6 extra hours each week on coursework. This tends to go a little bit more on online classes because we're not actually meeting in person, so we actually have to do all of that stuff that we would meet in person online as well. So it does take a little extra time to do an online class. Just be aware of that. All right? And I will push the Writing Center again later on in the semester. We actually have an assignment where you're going to be using the Writing Center. They're amazing. If you're struggling with anything, be sure to get in touch with them. They have availability online and in person both. So make sure you're making use of this wonderful resource that we have. In addition, I'm going to make just a real quick note here about these institutional policies and college resources. You are still responsible for these, though we're not going to go over them in detail, but they're generally common sense kinds of policies about doing your own work, making sure you're behaving in a fashion that is expected of a college student. So check these because you still are responsible for these policies, whether or not we cover them in class and whether or not anyone ever covers them in class, okay? All right, so I'm going to scroll down here to the course schedule. You all can follow along on the downloaded form. The schedule is subject to change, but I generally will not be changing it. I can't, though, things do happen, and we acknowledge that. This will be the planned schedule for this semester. So we're going to use a couple of weekly due dates, okay? So by Wednesday at 11:59 p.m., you need to have all assigned readings read and all lectures viewed. And I generally will have some sort of lecture either that I did or that we're going to be taking from the Little Brown Handbook codes every week, particularly for the first 3/4 of this semester. There probably will be something there. So you need to have all your readings done and your lectures viewed by the time Wednesday rolls around at 11:59. All right, moving on to our course schedule. The subject is, Moving on to our course schedule. The schedule is, of course, subject to change. As we know, emergencies happen. However, this is pretty firm. I don't at present have any plans to change the schedule. There's going to be 2 main due dates per week. The first is 11:59 on Wednesday evenings. By Wednesday, you need to have all readings read, all lectures viewed as posted on D2L for that week, and as listed on the syllabus. You need to post, every week we'll have 2 discussion posts, and you need to do your original discussion post per thread to receive full credit by 11:59. So therefore, this first week of class, all readings, lectures, and initial discussion posts will be due on Wednesday, January 21st by 11:59 p.m. And then the remaining work will be due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. I give you the absolute last minute. You need to have response discussion posts. So for every discussion thread, you'll have 2 discussion posts per thread responding to your peers to receive full credit. Any assigned annotation assignments, journal entries, essays, anything else we've got coming for the week will also be due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. I've tried to be as clear as I possibly can by making these redundant. They're stated on D2L, they're stated in the syllabus, but I just want to make sure everybody's very clear on when things are due. And extra credit, as we saw on D2L, is actually available at any time during this semester. You can complete the grammar quizzes available, and you have 2 times to do those. You may attempt them twice. So at any time during the semester up until the very last day of class. So that's the general course schedule. If you scroll down a little bit further, we've got very specific information. We've got the readings that we'll be discussing during the week, the lectures as posted, discussion posts as posted, and the assignments that you're going to be doing. So again, the discussion posts, your initial post is due by Wednesday at 11:59, and your final post, response posts, are due by Sunday, which is this week will be the 25th at 11:59. In addition, you'll have an annotation assignment and an initial writing and self-assessment. I will go over those in a separate lecture segment. I'll try to go over those frequently, particularly until we kind of get a little bit of until we get a little bit used to one another and you know what my schedule looks like. I will go over these because I want to make sure my expectations are clear, but as always, ask lots of questions. So a couple of major highlights from our week-to-week course schedule. Course class will start officially on the 20th because we're officially closed on Martin Luther King Day. February 3rd is the last day to drop the course with a full refund. That's according to the PPCC schedule, so just a date to be aware of. You can still withdraw, it's just that after that point it will be with a slightly less refund and less as the days go by. So we've got all of these due dates, and like I said, we'll go over these in more detail week by week. These are just some highlights from the schedule. Spring break will be March 23rd to March 29th. And April 17th is the last day to withdraw from the course. You will not receive a refund at all if you withdraw on April 17th or after. Actually, after, it's really not possible to withdraw from the course, barring, severe emergency, like something life-threatening. So if you intend to withdraw, this is the day that you want to withdraw by. And end of class day will be on May 10th, so I won't be able to accept anything late after May 10th, which is a Sunday, at 11:59 p.m. After that point, I'll be talking to you more about what to expect in terms of grades, but that's kind of the very, very quick version of the schedule. I personally, and this is what I do for every schedule, I actually print it off so I can go through week by week and check out the readings, make sure I'm on track for everything. And that's what I did when I was an undergrad as well. So you might consider doing that, or if you have another method of organizing yourself, whatever works for you, just know that you're responsible for keeping up to date on the readings. I won't offer you reminders about that after this first week. We'll just be talking about them, and your annotation assignments will cover those. So it's just really important that you make sure to keep up to date on all that information. So that is a very brief tour of the class syllabus and schedule and D2L. I will also be posting some additional lecture resources as time goes on about how to retrieve grades and that sort of thing. Make sure that you know how to find your feedback. I do a lot of extensive feedback on your essays and your writings, so I want to make sure you know how to obtain those. So I will look forward to seeing you all on the discussion boards, and welcome to class. Thanks.